The Conversation Podcast with a K celebrates Women's History Month. Sheryl Sandberg stated, "We need women at all levels, including the top, to change the dynamic, reshape the conversation, to make sure women's voices are heard and heeded, not overlooked and ignored." Women have made many contributions in impacting every spectrum of society in the world. The Conversation Podcast honors and salute you. Happy Women's Month. We may have made many strides throughout the years. They have made an impact on 7 mountains of influence, which is family, religion, business, education, arts, media, and politics. Have you considered sponsoring? You can Cash App us or set up recurring monthly donations. Our Cash App is $RareImage26. For recurring contributions, scan the QR code at the bottom. The Conversation Podcast highlights 2 businesses every month. If you want your business to be mentioned, email us at rareimage26@gmail.com with your information.
Hey, what's up, Joe? How you doing, pretty lady?
We back, we back, hey, we back, we back, we back. Hey, we back, we back, we back.
Hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
you know, you always bring the dancer out of me. I can't dance, but for some reason, like when I get around you and you start doing your stuff, it made me want to do my stuff. You know what I'm saying? You are
Come
definitely
on, do your
you are a
stuff.
hype person. That's what you are.
I try to be the hype man. I do.
And you definitely do it well. I must admit.
It's been so long. Welcome, podcast, conversation
Yeah.
time.
Yes, it's been a good minute. A whole
You're a
good
little
minute.
hot
Yeah.
minute.
Life have been life.
Like thing.
Yeah.
But God been God.
God been guarding, most definitely.
But God been God.
Yes. Yes. So how you been?
I have been.
Good. Good. That's good news. I have been.
I have been. Okay. Yeah, I've been. Not bad, but it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I have been.
That's good.
That's the whole word. That's your next priest word. I have been.
I have been. I may take
Mhm.
that and just run with that one. I have been.
Mhm.
That's a actually,
Mhm.
that's a good topic, really.
It,
I have been.
it is
Yeah.
because there's a lot of ways you can go with I have been with that. So I'm not even gonna get started, but praise God.
Yeah, because we can take you to church in 1.2 seconds.
Go
That's
somewhere else,
that's all the time we need. Just that, and before we
baby.
know it, it's hey, there we go.
Baby.
Okay.
We are the oil. We the oil waiting on the spark, and that's all we
Yes.
need. We done
That's
set
all we need.
everything.
Yeah.
Just set everything on fire.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's like just need that match and it's over.
It's over now.
One little spark. Great to see you. It's definitely been a while since that you have we have actually done this, and it's wonderful.
Mhm.
And I'm excited about tonight's conversation that we're about to have about your life and the things that have been going on with you, and how that you are evolving, transcending, all those wonderful things. Now, I know people who may follow you on a regular basis. You have really kicked in on so many different levels. And we're gonna dive into that because, like, she's my sister, but I'm also a fan. I'm a diehard fan of her.
Oh
I'm just
Lord,
big.
listen.
I'm telling you, like, she is.
Listen, while
No,
my brother talking about me, y'all see this background, baby. He done revamped, remastered. He done became a producer, movie maker, and carrying on. Listen, he is on little Darnell Perry.
Look, I like that. I like that. I like that.
He is Darnell Bear. He looking good. I see this background. I'm like, okay, I gotta find me a
Yeah.
background because this clock done ticked out. Time is up. Huh?
I, I used to be jealous of your background. I
I
did.
don't know.
I'm for real. At one point in time, I was considering when I was at my old house getting me a clock to put on the wall. I was at Walmart, even Dollar General and some other places. Every time I went to a place that had furniture and wall art, I was looking at clocks. I like my sister got one, and I think I need one.
Hobby Lobby. Okay,
Yeah,
that is the goat when it comes to what they call country. What they call it? Whatever they call it, it's dealing with wood and steel. I don't know. I didn't know I was into that till I went shopping for my house. You know what? Speaking of transition, it's a lot of things I didn't know I was into until you get in the middle of transition. So, that transition is all about figuring out who you are and what you
mhm,
like. And it's hard to know that and you never had to make the decision before.
yeah.
Um, so country contemporary is what I am. That's
Country
what it's called.
contemporary. Okay, I like that.
Country contemporary. Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
that kind of fit us, to be honest, because
It do. It do.
we're
We can be
definitely
very country,
right, but we
but
like the
you
modern
know,
look as well. Yeah,
we stay up to date. We try. We
try,
try.
we try our best. Sometimes we fall
Yeah.
short. Fall short. Especially me, y'all. Sometimes I be like, "That was yesterday." Listen, it's so funny because you actually mentioned something because we about to dive into it. You was talking about. I'm just gonna paraphrase what you were saying. Like when life happens, you never know where you will be, what you will become because of that. So
hmm
tonight we're talking about that broken crayon still color. So we were talking
hmm
about the art that you are creating with your life. Like it's so much it is really weird because a lot of people come to me and they be telling me what they see on your page before I even see it. And how it is such an inspiration to them to see you take, control of your life. And
hmm
so we definitely gonna be talking about your challenges, your evolution, and how you became the person you are right now, and how you become a different version of Jonesha.
hmm
Yeah. So
hmm
let's dive into this conversation. We physically met when I was 16 years old, and you had to be about 14, right?
Right.
Right. And so we began to build a relationship from that point on. It was rocky at start, but it definitely evolved. And I have to admit,
It
I
is.
had something to do with the rocky part.
Mhm.
That- That's
I
my
think we got more closer in our adult age
we
because
did.
I think there was a big gap, especially after dad died. Like there was a big gap for a long while. Like we knew each other, but I think the 3 years we lived together caused us to really um bind together per se.
It did. It did. And we discovered
hmm
we had more in common than we had that which was different. And even though we grew up in different states, um, and God had blessed me with a wonderful man that my mom ended up marrying, and he became my father. But we still struggle with some of the same issues, and when we talk about it, we always like, man, this is so weird, man. Like
yeah.
different life
Yeah.
experiences, but coming to the same conclusions, which was
hmm
you know. And I remember me sharing with you that during the time when I found out about you all. And I was about 8 years old when I found out about you all. And so when we had that conversation, you begin to dive into what all transpired in your life at that moment.
hmm
So I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell that story. Like what happened at age 7.
On age 7. Wow. Yeah. My biggest life transition happened at age 7. Um, Mom passed, and Dad dropped us off at Granny house. And from that moment to this, of course, let me start out by saying, because I know a lot of people, when your story is your story, however you view it, however you go through it, I really dislike. I'm not going to say the word hate. I really dislike when people tell their story and then people try to make comments based off their vision and what they experienced. So I'm going to start out by saying this is not me bashing any part of my experience, because I now know that everything I went through was very, very necessary for who I am now. But at the moment, you don't think those things are necessary. Even the topic about broken crayons still color, like, as creative as I am, a lot of times when creative people start coloring per se, they don't know what the picture is supposed to be.
That's true.
I know people think it's already in our heads and in our mind what this picture is supposed to be. But at 7 years old, I never thought the death of my mom and the abandonment of my father, because when mom died, I think he was lost because he never really found himself and learned how to color. So, with him being a person, now I didn't know any of this until much later. Him being a person, being on his own since he was 16, sort of raising himself, most definitely did not even know how to begin to raise us. So he dropped us off and I stayed with my grandparents. Um, I didn't see dad again until 2 weeks later when the funeral happened. He was already married. And, I think I would have been okay if the woman didn't have 5 children. So with her having 5 kids, it was like, you traded us.
Wow.
So that started the painting of the picture. So all these years, there was a sense of abandonment. Like, I expected, especially the men in my life, to come into my life and not stay long, because I was always dropped off and I was always promised, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. And I would stay on the porch for hours waiting on him. My grandma tried to get me to come in. I'm like, no, he said he coming. And he never came. I didn't see my father again until I was 16 years old. And you know, you said we met at 14, but I almost think we met at the age I remember. I was 16 and you was like 18,
It was
because
16, because the reason I remember that, because I was a junior in high school and I
well,
hadn't
maybe
even
I don't remember the
been
first
a senior.
time we met. What sticks out to me was,
I'm gonna tell you, it was so funny because I remember getting out the car, pulling up to grandma's and granddaddy's house, right? And I remember Cheryl
mhm,
and Patrick coming and standing on the front porch. And I remember Joe saying, "Hey, this is your sister and this is your brother." And I remember that pretty smile. I was like, "This is my sister." So that, like, is
you
ingrained
see what
in
I'm
me.
saying about
Yeah.
perception? Because I remember dad coming back up. I was 16, hadn't seen him in a long time. He said he was coming to pick us up, came to pick my little brother up. We driving. We on the way to granddaddy's house. He said, oh, by the way, you got a brother. And I say what? You got a brother. And we came to granddaddy Robert house. And you was in there. I want to say it was almost like he was in church clothes or something.
I will, because that's my
I don't
second
know.
time. That was my second time seeing you all. Yeah, I was. I just had got out here.
Okay.
I went over
So
granddaddy's house.
I
Yeah.
remember the second meet. You remember the first meet. I
Right,
don't remember
right.
the first meet.
Yeah. Because
So,
that was the first time I stayed with him. Because I remember
mm,
with him that time. Yeah. That was the first
I
time.
got you. So I don't even remember the first meet. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I blocked that out of my head. I don't know. All I remember was the second. And when you that young and you're teeter-tottering with relationship with your father, some stuff can be blurry. It's certain
Mhm.
things that make things stick out. Um, but I remember it at 16 specifically going to granddaddy house and you standing in there, and I want to say you had like I can almost remember the dress shirt that you had on. And I was just still looking like he's just 2 years older than me. Like, you guys were married a long time. What happened?
Oh,
So I think that's what started the brokenness of my crayon and me not really having full identity because your parents is what helps groom your identity. And with mom leaving, um, she would have been the groomer, and grandma was too heartbroken. She didn't have nothing to say for a minute. So Cheryl, my sister, raised us. She combed our hair, put our clothes on, all of that. So I think that's what started the chipping away at the crayon. I don't know if I was completely broken yet. I probably didn't get completely broken till I got into my adulthood. Just understanding what I saw back then now makes sense now, and it just creates a whole little cracking
yeah.
effect.
I can understand that completely because we don't have several pillow talk conversations, way 3, 4, 5 in the morning. I had to be at work about our lives. You know, you
Mhm.
so mad at me because I want to stay up late with you.
Yeah, I'm finna say, was you sure it was 3, 4, 5? Cause you don't stay up that late. If
Well,
you do, you barely hear him.
I kind
Yeah,
of,
him, him don't understand after about 1 or 2. Okay,
it,
he
it, had-
tried so hard.
I never could stay up past 3, 4, 5 in the morning, but about 1 or 2 o'clock, I tapped out. I tapped out
Yeah,
every
he
night,
tapped.
um, and didn't realize I was asleep until she sometimes threw a pillow at me, um,
You
or
hear me?
yeah, she shook me sometimes, like you always fall asleep. Well, I'm talking to you, but it's stuff like that. That's
Then he
not right.
jovial in the morning. I'm looking at him like, please stop talking to me.
Yeah, you know, um, you was talking about like the passing of your mom, which
Hmm.
I heard about her when I was young. It was amazing. I think we were looking at some time frames, and I had the time frame kind of off because I was thinking it must have been like summertime, during the time when I found out. But then, as we looked at the time frame of her passing, um, I found out during the fall season. When I look back at it, it's kind of weird
Mm,
who my biological father was. So that shook me. Then when I look at the time frame after that, mom almost passed. So
mm,
then months later, after her and my stepfather, I called daddy, set me down, they kind of let me know what was going on. Um, and they came up to a conclusion that they was gonna let me come to Tennessee for the summer. And she died a couple months before school was out.
mm,
I heard about y'all constantly because my mom's sister kept us abreast because of come to find out in hindsight because of granddaddy. Granddaddy would tell my Aunt Glenn stuff. My Aunt Glenn would tell my mom stuff, and stuff would get shared back. So I had a view of you all before I actually saw you two.
mm,
I always knew about my younger brothers and sisters, and and I wanted to be this amazing big brother to you too. Because of that. It sounds exciting. But I remember hearing about your mom's death, and my mom was sad about it because come to find out they had wrote each other. Did not know that until years later. I had a conversation
mm-hmm.
about how everything transpired, and so here we are. Wow, my sibling's mom is gone, and I always wondered how they affected you all, like what was going on. Now I remember moving back to Tennessee, and I was like, man, I wonder where they are. I met our father at the courthouse. That was the first time I laid eyes on Joe Michael Green at the courthouse.
My God, my God. And I'm listening to you talk, and that was the amazing thing about my mom. Like, she was absolutely the mender of broken pieces. And now in my older age, I have her mantle. I didn't realize sometimes you have to be broken in order to know how to put stuff back together. You
Absolutely.
have to know what that feels like. And, just listening and hearing different stories of my mom, how she was the gatherer and how she, when things would happen, she was the one that brought things together. And so I think she had mastered coloring with broken pieces and like fusing them together to make it one again. And that's really truly a gift. Unfortunately, the person that has to put the crayon back together after it's broken has to go through a lot of um different crayons in
Yeah,
order to pick the right pieces.
absolutely.
And that's absolutely my mama's mantle that dropped on me. And but if you don't understand that, for whoever, maybe I'm saying this for somebody who's on this line that feel like they go through a lot all the time. But if you're called to be the gatherer, if you're called to be the what I call the bridge between places, if you're called to be the person that mends broken spaces back together, you're going to be in situations that seem just chaotic quite often. Has nothing to do with you, so don't take it on for yourself, but just look at it as, I did a teaching on being a bridge, how nobody says thank you to the bridge. Sometimes they stick gum to the bridge and they stomp across the bridge and they throw stuff on the bridge. But without that bridge, if you look, most bridges are in uncomfortable spaces where there can be no road. And so, understanding that, my position, my placement, like, yeah, the rivers are rising. Yeah, things are happening underneath this bridge, but I'm strong enough to stand and let you walk across. And
Wow.
so when you learn that position, listen, whoever, when you learn that position of going through broken things, it's like the scripture in Nehemiah, and that really brings it comes up in me a lot this year because that's a lot of what my job is in every space that I hold. And it's, building up the old wasted places, making them realize that nothing's a waste, everything is made for something. But the thing about going back to a space that people call wasted is they don't care how they treat it anymore because they figure there's no use for this anymore. Even with broken crayons, think about it. People put them in a big Ziploc bag and it just be pieces of crayons everywhere. And most of the time, if there is a whole crayon, they will filter through all the broken crayons to get that one whole crayon. And when that one breaks, you might as well go back to the store and buy a whole new box, as opposed to coloring till it can't color no more.
You know, um,
And I think, yeah.
when you was talking about the broken crayon, because I got several questions to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when they start putting uh crayon sharpeners in the crayon box?
In the
So
back of it.
right,
Mm-hmm.
it gave life or repurpose the crayon again that was broken.
Yep.
You can take that piece.
Because it was really about the shape.
Right.
People ain't really worried about the fact that the tip broke off. It don't look right to them no more because it don't look like how they had it when they got it. It has that pretty little tip
Mhm.
on it that you color on it. And when that tip, because almost always you heavy handed, if you didn't get them fat crayons, the tip broke off of it because you're too
Yeah.
heavy handed. You coloring too hard. And that's a whole thing in itself, knowing, where you are in life. Maybe your life ain't hard this season. Why you still coloring hard?
Yeah.
That's a whole little space. Maybe in this season of your life, everything's hard. You need a fat crayon. Okay. But if life ain't that hard no more, a lot of time we don't even realize what season we in. We know life is, filtered out. You're in your glory period. Things are the waves have ceased. You're in a peaceful moment, but you done got a little crayon. You used to using the fat ones in the hard season because you had to, push a little harder. Now you done switched up and you realize, okay, I need to switch up. I don't need this fat crayon no more. But you still coloring like you got a fat crayon, so you break them apart.
Now I have a whole another set of questions. See, look, this is what you're doing. I want to get back to this because you had made a statement previously about you not becoming aware of your brokenness until you became an adult. Is it
Mm-hmm.
possible, like, that your actions, your response to things, subconsciously, that those things affected you, that caused you to do certain things?
Absolutely. When you a kid, everything is lottie-dottie. You know, you don't know you need things until they're not there. And in my younger, everybody that tell you, everybody that knew me as a young child, I was big on imagination. Like I was like a free bird. Nothing bothered me. I was very nonchalant, like whatever. But then when you come into your adulthood, and there are certain things you have to know as an adult, you need to know. And I felt slighted because, unless you get into the history of things, your grandma really wasn't raised like that. She raised on her own. So there are certain things a mom is supposed to walk you through that not even my grandma could walk me through because nobody walked her through. And so I'm looking like, where's my mom? You know, that's when I got broken because then I really had to actually realize, or I felt like I missed out on some things that were really pertinent for just a mother to do. And her death cracked up so many people that they couldn't even do their normal role because she was so important in the fabric of what our family was. So nobody assumed they role for a few years. Um, so we didn't get all we were supposed to get. And I didn't realize it until my adulthood when I started, because my grandma, praise God, we weren't allowed to spend the night on nobody's house, none of that. So we was very, very sheltered. My first year in college, I was outdone. And I didn't realize how sheltered I was. And I'm like, I called my grandma, like, I'm mad at you. Like, you got me out here looking like a fool. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm choosing people. People like, you didn't know that about they assuming I'm a certain kind of way because I'm just a nice person. I'll talk to anybody. I don't know that who I'm talking to got this reputation. Like I don't see like that. When I see people, I just see people until you show me a certain thing. And I don't know if I'm colorblind. That's a whole nother word or what. But I tend now, I think I still am colorblind. What I mean by colorblind is I don't choose based on the brand of the crayon.
So
Since we talking about
technically,
crayon.
it's not that you colorblind, you are brand blind because it
Yeah.
don't
But
matter.
I said colorblind because I really felt like I was colorblind in college. Like I just didn't know what was what. I couldn't tell nothing. Now, I don't know if my eyes filtered out or what. I can tell what color you are. I don't care. Like some people got certain brands of crayons that they use because okay, dollar store, let's break down.
Hmm.
Dollar Tree and dollar store crayons are a little bit more waxier and it leaves like a film on the paper. I can't, that's the only way I can describe it. It's like you coloring with wax.
I get it. I get it.
Right.
I
But
get
you
it.
go to Crayola, even now, Crayola up they stuff, they got skin tone crayons. So it's a little bit more intricate in what you're choosing. I'm not that person to say I would never use a wax crayon because wax crayon have its place. So let's not discriminate the wax crayon. I do like the fact that I got option for skin tone, but I'm not the one to neglect a wax crayon because now I can afford to be with the skin tone crayons that cost more. I'm still not gonna neglect the Dollar Tree crayons because hey, they was used what they was used for.
Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. And also, when you brought that up, it wasn't so much about the wax part, but I do know that's a different tonage when it come down to certain brands of crayons.
Oh,
So
the red look pink
yeah,
in
that red
some
is not
crayons.
not reading. That's not a
No.
word, y'all. That is not a word at all. that red is not redding. That
The
orange is
red is
not
not
orange.
reading. I don't know
Yeah.
what. And then as a kid, when you're learning your colors, if something don't color right, it frustrates you. Cause I used to get frustrated. Like I picked up this brown, but this brown is tan. This not brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like what are we doing here? It would bother me because I was looking for a certain thing. And I think in my adult years, just going back to my life, I was looking at everybody else's life and I was looking for a certain thing. And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not have that. I couldn't say my father came to any of my recitals. My mother was there. I couldn't say, we had girls' night. What's that? I developed girls' night with my nieces and nephews, or just kicking at night. I ain't gonna say girls' night because they got a lot of nephews. Just spending one-on-one time with them. I didn't get, mm-mm. With my mom at a young age, I did. So, yeah, I think that's when I realized, I think the realization, because you could be a broken crayon and don't know it for a long time until all of a sudden nobody don't choose you.
Because you don't have that shape that they felt like you should have.
Hmm.
But
Then that makes you paranoid, like,
yeah,
what's wrong with me?
yeah, it does. You and I often hit on because I went through a space where I gained weight, and then I noticed that you was gaining more weight. Um, so with the weight gain, I know we talk openly about your surgery. And that was kind
Hmm.
of help curve a lot of things, a lot of health issues beginning to happen because of the weight and things like that. So how did what was the root of what caused you to blow up to 400 and something odd pounds?
Comfort. When you at a space where you're never, and to this day, I tell people all the time, I'm not a person that's comfortable. I don't never get to be comfortable. How some people can live just this comfortable life for long periods of time. Joe don't get that. She just don't. And the only thing that was consistent was good food
Mm,
in my entire life. I knew where to go to get some good food at. That was consistent, and I never had consistency in my life. Never. And so you form this unhealthy relationship with something that's consistent. You just want consistency. That's it. And you don't know that the consistency of toxicity is unhealthy, but you don't care because you feel good at the moment. You're not even realizing it's killing you from the inside out, but that food tastes good out.
they
And it
do.
make you feel good at the moment. It's got endorphins that are released because this is pleasurable for me. Think about it. I don't get pleasure from no other place. It ain't nobody that just love me like that. This is how I feel. It ain't nobody checking for me, checking on me, making sure I'm well. None of that. Uh, since ain't nobody checking for me, I'm just gonna do what I like to do. Cause do it matter? Then when that plays in your head, do it matter? Then you start getting into, do it matter if I'm living or not? Would it change anything? I don't think it would. I ain't affecting nothing now. All these lies. I'm reading a book now called The Lies We Believe. And I believe so many lies till even I was shallow hair. When I looked in the mirror, I thought I was looking at somebody skinny. It was reverse shallow hair. Because if you remember the movie, all of the skinny women, you know, all of the big women were looking skinny, but they were actually big women. And I could look at myself and be, I ain't that big. I know I'm struggling with sleeping. I know I can barely walk. And then when I got to it was not until I started busting out of clothes, breaking beds and chairs, and not able to stand that I really realized how bad I was. Because in my mind, and it's still sort of like that, but opposite. I still can't to myself when I look in the mirror, even though I know I'm in the 200s now. When I look in the mirror, I still see 400 pounds. So it's always a mental thing. And it's easy to form relationship with something that's consistent. That's the only way I could put it.
Wow. That is a good way of saying it, because
Mm-hmm.
when you can't depend on anybody else, you can depend on that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, that is a good way of putting it. So
Mm-hmm.
that those experiences, like childhood trauma issues, and we just scratching the surface of it, because it's that's a whole lot of depthness to like what we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about. What time would not allow, the,
Mm-hmm.
um, you got up to almost 400. It was 400 something. I can't
I
remember.
got almost a 500, 485.
Wow. See, I was giving you 420.
Glory, bless you.
Yeah. You know,
485 was the height.
wow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I remember you was talking about the abandonment from our father, and I remember a series of relationships, damaging connections, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and how brokenness, like, I'm sitting here watching you talking to different men, and they was presenting themselves as if they was interested.
Yeah, I'm telling him don't say it like that. Different me.
Different men. Well, Joe, we look at the end of the day, it may sound weird,
Y'all,
but
just know the men, and that's another thing. Like when you in that state, you'll accept anything. And because the men were so few and far between, and most of them thought, I'm gonna tell you what people be thinking, and
I
y'all
want
can amen
I want
corn
to
if you
laugh
want
so
to.
bad because I already know.
Go,
Like,
go, go ahead. See, people think because when you get to a certain weight, and you do have low self esteem, don't get me wrong, but it was something in me that would not let a dude take advantage of me in certain areas. So I would accept him for a while until he got on my nerve. And then the first thing pop out that mouth, you ought to be glad I'm talking to you. Why? There was a certain level of me like, nah, you're not finna come at me no kind of way. I don't care if I'm 600 pound light. You're not finna come and I accepted it for a minute just to say I had something or I was able, but baby, they was pulling um date night after dark. They would only come see because they was embarrassed, which made me feel a certain kind of way. And so,
did that
yeah,
further your depression? Digging deep into that hole and
of
developing a
course.
deeper relationship with
You
food
I
that
didn't
was important?
recognize it, but of course it did. I didn't recognize it. I mean, you sitting there waiting on somebody to say they're gonna come see you, reverse back to my dad, you know, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. And for you know, you done ate a whole family pack of Oreos and chips. The big families, you done ate the whole thing waiting on that person to come. And for me, I would eat to go to sleep. Sounds crazy. I would eat until I fell asleep. It's the same thing. I understand drug addicts. I really do. I really totally do. Because you'll go to that same place where you feel okay, where you can forget about what's going. So it wasn't nothing for me to be. I'm still a movie person. It wasn't nothing for me to put on a good movie and have a family pack of Cheetos and Oreos and a soda and all that be wiped away. And then I feel bad because I realize I done ate enough for 4, 5 people and didn't even realize it
It's kind of
because I'm emotional.
funny because this is a conversation you and I always have. How when you are in the moment, how unaware you are of how it's affecting you. It's
Darnell, I realized I was bad. This how you know you bad. My gas tank was on the fourth of a tank. I only had, and this gonna tickle somebody. I only had about $2 to my name.
Why I drive around Jackson, Tennessee looking for a quarter soda machine because I wanted a pop that bad. And I only had $2. I rode to empty to fix my fix to get what I thought I needed to cope. I mean, I did stuff. People, if people stop eating in my car before I go somewhere, no, I'm coming with you to dinner, but I don't want to look like I'm greedy in front of you. So I'm gonna eat before I come and then eat normal with y'all. I could tell some stories. Go to each place. I want a Whopper from Burger King, but I like Popeye's fries. But I want a slushy from Sonic. That kind of stuff. Ridiculous.
Wow.
But I would do that because it was whatever was necessary for me to cope and get through the day, for me to be okay. So even if I have to hide in the empty parking lot and eat and throw the stuff away, I do what I got to do because I don't need nobody on my head. I don't need nobody. Yo, you know you don't need that. Okay, well tell me what I need because ain't nothing working. I'm still not getting chosen. I'm still getting looked over. I'm still people still leaving me left and right, whether it's in death or just disappearing. Like there's no hope for me. And so I'm just gonna do what makes me feel good. Forget about everything else. So at that point, you really don't care about life. You ain't looking at long term what this doing to you. If I die, I'm gonna enjoy dying. I think that used to be my little theme, like at one time, like somebody gotta die something. And that's stupid to say, but that was the way I coped. Like it was nonchalant. But I was really, really hurting. I was hurting. It was a slow suicide for real.
I didn't know you even felt that way.
Yeah, because people used to Jolly Joe, and because Joe can joke through things. I think in my older age, I'm a lot better with conveying what I really feel. In my younger age, I mastered it with being the jokester and being the jolly one and being because I already felt like nobody wants a sad fat person around. Let's be real. We're gonna be real tonight. If you already handicapped in some way, they already don't choose you. So if you coming in, you already this heavy and you're boring and you're like in Lodi bar and you're depressed, ain't nobody gonna want to be around you. But everybody want to be around Funny Joe, even if she was the brunt end of the joke. Which now that I look back, most time I was.
Yeah.
You don't think about that stuff. You do not think about that stuff. But I had to be jovial even when I was in pain. I had to always smile even when you was mistreating me. I couldn't tell you I don't like the way you treat me. I don't like the way you just did that. I know you paid this person, $150 and gave me 25 or sometimes nothing. I know you did that. I couldn't say it because then they wouldn't ask me to come back no more. And nobody who gonna choose me.
Wow. So let me ask this
Yeah.
question. When was the waking up moment for you? When did you realize, okay, I am broken and a lot of things has happened, but I still have purpose and I can create with my brokenness?
Mm. To be honest, I've been here 3 years, my birthday. Um, I would say honestly, probably my last 5 years. It was that transition of God saying, okay, it's time to shift and move. Because again, I don't know. It's almost like when you wake up, everybody else do too. It's like a big sleeping beauty going on. Everybody in this fog, you feeling this certain kind of way about yourself. And then the moment you wake up, everybody else wakes up too. They realize your value just as much now you realizing your value. And it's just amazing. The 2 years before I moved here, God like transitioned me with speed. I went to the doctor. The doctor basically said, "You dying, and you're gonna be in a wheelchair if you don't have the surgery." And that's a big wake up call right there to hear either you had a surgery or you in a wheelchair. Because at this time, I was in sitting mode everywhere I went. I could not stand for more than 5 minutes at a time. Um, I would be in so much pain. And even when I would push myself to dance and move and do, somebody had to help me to the car. And I would just be out of it. So him that'll bring you back real fast. Somebody say you about to be paralyzed. Paralyzed? I'm not even 40 yet. You talking about paralyzation? Oh no, 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 no. So that made me know how bad I really was. I started working on myself at that point. He basically said, "You're not losing it fast enough. It's not fast enough. You have to go have surgery." And your pastor prophesied accelerated pace. And I don't even remember the rest of the word. I just remember him saying he saw accelerated pace on me. And them 2 years before I moved, I was in accelerated pace. Like my whole mind shifted of I started getting I was already pretty wordy. I would say I like to get in my word and study, but I went deeper, I went heavier. Um and I just my eyes just became open, even with the people around me. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have been here. I'm in the wrong spot. Like, what am I doing? I realized I volunteered myself for crap. They didn't choose me. I volunteered to be a part.
And that's what brokenness will do to you. You make horrible decisions, like when you're broken. Like, uh,
Child.
I know.
Mm-mm.
I am. I know you moved to where you are now, Winston Salem.
Mm-hmm.
You went through a dark period. You was away from us, your family, away from everything that was
Yes.
familiar, and
Yes.
and I remember you talking about how you were sliding in some old behaviors, that
Mm-hmm.
position you to where you were before and you started picking up weight and stuff like that. So, what was the restart for you like? Because you start now you posting pictures of you exercising, and at one point before your schedule got real busy, you was doing this
Mm-hmm.
exercising show, encouraging people, hey, get to moving and things like that. So, what started all that for you? What was the reason behind the restart, and what is keeping you moving?
Refusing to go back. I know what the old has. It's crazy how we pine or mourn over these familiar places. We know what they hold. We know what's there. We done been in every room, every crook and cranny. But when you in an unfamiliar space and you really don't know yourself, you rather be in a familiar space, even if that space wasn't good. So I'm sitting here. I still can't eat as much as I used to, but I found myself, emotionally eating still. And um I think I got down to like 309. And I looked up and I was back at 330. And I was like, uh, uh, no, we not. I don't care if ain't nobody here because, you know, the move for me was recalibration, recalibrating from other people's voices. Um, because when you're following other people's voices, you can lay the blame on them. You don't have to take responsibility because I just did what you told me to do. So now I'm in this new space where ain't nobody here to tell me nothing. It's a decision of mine. Um, and I love that for me, the fact that I can recreate myself. Because sometimes when you're in a familiar space and you try to, recalibrate and redo yourself and reconstruct what your mind thinking, people start saying stuff like you acting funny, you switching up, you da da da. I didn't have none of that because ain't nobody here to say what I do. So it made me take ownership and responsibility for myself. And I recognize because I'm here alone, I have nobody to say this is the reason why I'm gaining this weight again. It was solely on me. I had to take responsibility. So I was like, you know what, Joe, you're not going back. If you're gonna be angry and emotional, you're gonna do it in movement. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna push it through movement. And do I still have my struggles? Absolutely, I do. Um, but I don't deny them. Before I used to deny them. Oh, I'm all right, I'm good. Y'all be seeing me over there shaking for delight, trying to get sleep. And I'm like mad at y'all because y'all waking me up because y'all scared I'm dying. I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with me. Even though I know I was always tired and falling asleep in places because I wasn't getting no sleep. I was in denial. I was totally in denial. You can't be denied. You can't deny in a space where there's nobody but you.
That's true. That is true. That's true.
So that was my motivation because I can no longer blame anybody else. Um, and I knew it was all me. I said, oh, that's you. You did that. You can't say, well, they took me out to eat. No, you took yourself. You could have chose something better than what you chose.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I
Taking
just
the
decided to create me a community. That's what the online was about because I didn't have community. So I had to create one. So,
yeah, the biggest thing is like I tell people, assuming your responsibility or taking your responsibility is really freeing. That's when deliverance, as the church term, as we call it, that's when change happens when you start being responsible for you and being honest about it. Um, I see a whole glow about you, and that's one thing that people that know me, that's familiar with you, they talk about it like, man, your sister, she's doing great things and stuff like that. And I noticed in the past couple of months that I'm trying to say it without sounding so churchy, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Um, when talking to you, even in down moments, I hear joy in your voice. I hear happiness. And you have a community of people who love you there. They check on you, you hanging out, you chilling, you going out, you having I don't want to call them date nights because I want to think you got a boyfriend just in case somebody's on here.
y'all
You
know
know,
somebody.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, 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 yeah. But you meeting up with people and you chilling, Um, and God has definitely blessed you with a community that understands Joe, supports Joe, encourages Joe because you always been a pourer. Now you got people who's pouring back into you. And
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you are definitely creating this masterpiece with your life. Like you so open with it, with everything. It's just funny. I'm not going to share the open conversation you had with me. Um, Trust and
Listen,
believe. One thing
I
about
tell my
my
brother everything.
everything. There's no
I tell
shame.
my listen. I need to make me a OnlyFans page so I can tell y'all the real. Because people don't talk. It's certain things people don't like. In my struggle being a large woman, there's certain avenues I had to take, and I want people to understand. Like and this is a funny moment. But the first time that I could actually clean myself properly, I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. I was excited. I called people like, listen. I did that. I did that, child. I ain't need no help or none, Jesus. Because there was a moment. See, this is the thing, like, we take broken crayons for granted until they're not there. And then you wish you had at least a broken crayon. And I took the most minute things that people do, just everyday things. Like you may see me hopping around and all this kind of carrying on, but I remember when I couldn't hop at all. So, maybe I'm limping a little bit, but I limp on. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when I couldn't stand
Should I
for
put
5 minutes.
that video up of you dancing?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it up. Yeah, because you were going hard. I mean, you was going
Oh, you talking
hard.
about shouting video?
Yeah,
Child, listen, everybody know Joe wasn't no shouter. Joe wasn't no shouter because she couldn't shout. First of all, she been done broke her back, her shins, and everything. Now listen, you still ain't gonna catch me like that, but I'm quicker to put him up and put him down because I'm so grateful for where he's brought me to. And let me just be clear. When my brother say he see happiness, that does not mean things aren't going on. Let's be clear. What's happening is I'm settled with the fact that everything God brings me to, he's going to bring me through. I'm settled with the fact that I can look back and see that I've come such a long way. And I actually take the time to apply myself. It's bad when you don't even know how to take, you're doing a good job. I used to not know how to take that. I didn't because I never did a good job in my mind. But I'm just at a space where, I know my value. I know what I carry. I know what I add to an atmosphere. I don't try to force myself on nobody. If you want me, I operate more like Nanny McPhee. When you don't want me, but you need me, I'll be there. But when you want me there, but no longer need me, I must go. That's where I am. That's the space I'm in. And it's just lovely to have a community that just loves you for what they see because they don't know me from before. They just where I am right now, and they just love me for that. And when I'm not around, Joe, what's you good? We all right? Do y'all know I went for a long period without that? For real. And don't get me wrong, sisters and brothers, you know, they do, you expect that out of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get busy and you don't get it as much. But I'm talking about just building a community, even outside of family. Because when you build, let me tell you the importance of building your crayon collection outside of family. Because sometimes there are some things that God is dealing with you with because your family, and this is just honest, like we all do it. Your family, you seeing you at a certain level, and it's hard for you to, you know, transition or go another further. So you need a community, like they always tell you, your table, who's sitting at your table should be where you want to go in life. There should not be people at your table that's at the same level as you. You always want to be with the people that's a step up so you will have a place to reach to. And so God, I mean, I am happy. Do I be tired? Yeah. Am I thankful that God chose me to do what I do? Absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm just in a place of gratitude and thankfulness, and I'm just I've learned seasons come and seasons go, and I'm learning to enjoy the season I'm in. Period. Whatever people that's in that season, whatever I'm where I am in that season, and I let the season go. I no longer try to hang on to summer when it's wintertime. That
Mm,
was my problem. I was trying to hang on to that winter coat. Um, no, to the summer shorts during winter, and I was killing myself, having pneumonia and everything, just trying to stay in the same vein. And the times of seasons are for a reason.
still trying to look sexy in a season that those
Still,
clothes. Yeah. Yeah.
baby, knees locked up because you froze. Put some clothes on.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Joe, so in 30 seconds, tell the people how important brokenness can be to an artist, to a creator.
Mm. He said 30 seconds. So, to my people out there, brokenness is very important because it is the place of the revealed. Some things aren't revealed. You don't know what's inside, what it's made of, what you're made of until you're broken. So, brokenness is necessary in order to work with everything that's on the inside of you. So, I'm encouraging those that's in a broke space right now. Can I tell you it's going to be fine? This is actually the season to where you find out what you're really made of. is actually the moment that you actually understand all of the matter that's inside of you and what matters and what don't and how to use it. It's nothing like being a, a artist, but you don't even know how to use all the tools. Look how many things we miss out on because we don't really know what's on the inside of us. So can I tell you, the place of the broken is the replace of the reveal, and it is necessary.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to get that sound bite and I'm going to steal it. Listen, this has been an amazing conversation with Joeneshia Green. Oh my God. I wish we can go longer, but we can't. Time would not allow. But this will not be her last time on here.
Of
Jonisha,
course
thank
not.
you. Thank you for agreeing to come back on a conversation podcast to have this conversation with us about how important brokenness can be to an artist and to a regular person. Listen, we love you all, and we will see you again the
Happy
next time.
Women's Month.
Oh, happy Women's Month. All right. Peace out. Love you guys.